Hello, and thank you again for tuning into another episode of Shoot the Ish. And before we start, just going to say what's going on to the co-host.
What's goody? It's your boy Money Mitch, a.k.a. Mitch and them, Pluto. We're here in the building, having another great session as usual.
Oh, my God, Pluto. and how you doing today, Miss Wendy?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing good. Of course, the lovely Wendy Williams in the building here. Glad to be here.
And today, guys, I know you see somebody else here. Now, this guest, we're not other podcasts, right? But I'm going to do something like most podcasts do. He's not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to introduce him like, this is somebody that younger than me, but I was inspired by this guy. It's not too many people I'm inspired by. And I look, and I was just like, yo, the way you traveled, the way you moved, the things you've done, and knowing your journey, I always said, like, if my son was to grow up, I want him to be just like this person, right? And I could say, I'm going to introduce you guys to Joseph Nyamwange. And it took me years. I had to learn years how to say that last name, but I know it. But today we have Joseph Nyamwange. And before I tell you more about him, I'll let him describe himself, tell you about himself, and we're going to get down to some nitty gritty. But go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, so Joe Nyamwange, I am a proud father of three, a husband of one wife, Sasha Nyamwange, and I am honored to be a guest on one of the hottest YouTube channels, podcast, Shoot the Ish.
Yes.
At least he knows.
You're ready.
He knows.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
All right, so we're going to get down to the point. Now, one of the things I like to do with the podcast is introduce people to different people. It's not going to always be so scripted or like the NBA player or this person player. I ain't got that much pull yet. But at the end of the day, I prefer to show people different insights to regular, everyday people and your local people. And one of the things that I wanted to do is be able to show you guys this person, this guy, Joseph, right here. And the reason why is because through his accomplishments, and he's going to tell you about a lot of things he's doing right now, but the things that he does, like I said, I'm inspired by him. So what is it that I would say that you do? What is it that, what is it that you would say your journey has been to actually, we'll get to what you do, but how do you say your journey, what made you become the person you are that inspired you?
What inspired you to be who you are today?
Right now?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. You could attest to this because you obviously were brothers and grew up together, man, but I was fortunate to just have amazing parents who didn't always have much, but whatever they had, they always put themselves in a position to bless others. And, like, we watched that growing up, like, firsthand. Like, I remember I had different roommates. Like, literally, I was like, throughout my life.
I heard this story.
No, but seriously, people I never even knew. And it's not until after the fact that, my dad said, no, we brought them to this country to go to school. We paid for their school fees. We got them to get a college degree, and then they out. It was almost like this little Harriet Tubman type thing. And I think seeing that growing up, there was just this disposition or this idea that, man, I'm only being blessed so I can bless others, straight up. And so a lot of that is one of the reasons why I move the way I move. It's like, if the more I acquire or the more I get, it's focused on helping people. And it just so happened to be, and we'll probably get more into it, but the people that I care about the most are the ones who are misrepresented or underrepresented, people that look like you and me, who are chastised, who are prejudged, who feel they don't have a place. Like, that's my life's work. Like, and all that came because what I saw my parents do growing up.
Yeah.
And I think you said something that we are going to talk about things later. So, I mean, I understand what inspired you. Now, one of the things I would say, if you don't mind, what is it that you do for a living as of right now?
Yeah. So, we have my 9 to 5, quote unquote. I'm in enterprise sales. I work currently for Amazon Web Services, which is a division within Amazon. But that's not my only stream of income. So me and my wife, we run a real estate business, and so we have multiple investment properties that we run and manage. So that's another stream. And then,
Damn.
I know, right? Jack of all trades, right? Mina.
but I'm also a entrepreneur in the sense that I have a financial business practice where I help people kind of get controls of their finances, whether it be married couples, young singles, wherever they are, kind of helping people do what we did. And so that's its own entity, and then we also run a nonprofit. So we wear a lot of hats, but that's what we do. That's what I do.
Now you understand why I said I can just say damn. And damn again.
Lil Kim.
Now, Mitch, I know you said you had something that you wanted to ask.
No, I mean,
Mr. Johnson.
in general, I mean, as far as the questions and everything of that nature, I mean, I asked all the questions.
Okay,
obviously.
well, we're gonna get into it. Then.
We get into it. You gotta understand, and that is my little brother. We talk every day since we were
We
kids.
had to put the little on it, but
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? So
but
it's for the audience. It's for the
now I would say audience, right? Now he mentioned a couple of things, right? Now with everything that he said, and what he mentioned earlier was the fact that in his humble beginnings, where he started from, right, and what inspired him. He said, I like to do things for people. What you give and what I get is a blessing. I like to give back. Now, the thing that I like about that, and I think it's something you left out, and this is one of the things that I always found interesting about you, is it somewhere in your past you were a preacher or something?
Yeah.
Don't leave that out. I mean, don't leave that out because it's a reason.
I can speak to that.
I mean, no, you ain't the preacher.
Oh, all right. No, you're right. No.
Come on, preacher, man.
I'm talking as far as the transitions.
Yeah,
concerned.
I mean,
but no.
What's that? I want to know about that. What inspired you to do that? Like,
so it's funny, man. Like, you have to remember, I grew up, speaking wasn't a thing for me. Like, I was a stutter. I was nervous. I didn't like talking in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
I used to take the ESL classes with kids who couldn't speak proper English because my stuff was so bad.
Well,
it was somebody in my church when I would say maybe 12, 13 years old. For whatever reason, I don't know what he saw in me. He's like, yo, man, there's something about you, and I want you to go up there in church and preach a sermon. Mind you, we ain't never do nothing in church. Like we sit in the back, we faking the choir, like making noise, right?
Mm-hmm. We had to. Mom said, "Listen, you guys are going to church, and you're going to choir, and you're going to pathfinders.
Exactly.
That's it." I'm like,
okay.
So the dude, he reached out to me, and I don't know why I said, "Yeah, man." My whole body said, "No, I don't do that." And so I literally went. My very first sermon. I was 13 years old. Sermon title was Forward March. Just talking about how young people should continue to march and lead. And it was such a wonderful experience. And it was a gift that I never even knew I had because someone saw something in me that I didn't see.
But the interesting thing you said this was something that you never did.
Never did.
And you went up there, but you had a message you wanted to send out, right? Where did that message come from? Was this always something inside of you that you felt like you had something to say, but you just didn't know how to say it?
Yeah, partially. So understand, like, because I struggle so much with speaking in general, I was always fascinated with good speakers. Like, I was a big fan of Bill Clinton. This is 92. Mario Cuomo, my dad used to talk a lot about. So I used to watch speeches, and I always used to be like, dang, that's so dope. You can go up there and just galvanize. But just like how, folks play basketball in their minds, I used to do the same thing with
Good transition, but go ahead. I got something else to so go ahead.
Nah, but it was never nothing that materialized into anything. And so when I got asked, I had a message in me, but I had no idea what was going to come out, how it was going to come out. But it was so, it just, when I went up there was just level of confidence that just hit me. And we were talking about maybe 300 people there.
Yeah.
And I was
So
just
at 13 years old, you spoke.
That was a good audience. That's big.
Well,
yeah.
His first sermon.
For 300 people.
That's really good.
I remember.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, and people came to me, you got a gift, man. And at that, from there, the rest was.
That's history. Yeah.
So, guys, this is going to probably be one of those shows that you see me ask a lot of questions. Now, when I said something about the transition, obviously, like you said, what you do for a living now, you started. You had humble beginnings. You got your message. You're learning to speak and articulate yourself. Came through church and religion. But I also heard that you were good at sports. Is that true?
Yeah, man.
So I want to know everything about the person
that made you who
because
you are.
What I want people
All
to
dynamics.
know. Oh, we got somewhere we going with this.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some. There's a lot of things in his head right here, and I'm sorry, co-host. I'm about to bully this thing right here. So tell us about what sports, how good you were at sports. What did you do? And did that help also with guiding you into the person you are today, I should say?
I'll be honest with you. Like, I give, if not all the credit to Mitch.
Okay.
So let me explain. Like, I was a video gamer. Like, I was into Mario World, but physically, I was a big dude. Like, think about it. I don't know the size. You're talking about like 5'5", like 10 years old kind of thing. Or 9, I forget how old it was. But either way, I was a big dude. I remember Mitch was like, yo, you got to come play sports. And I always wanted to be like Mitch. So a lot of times I would play because I was size. I would play with his friends. And that's when we started picking up basketball. Now, I used to be trash in basketball.
Yeah.
But we had our neighbors.
Taught us the fundamentals.
Taught us the fundamentals.
Oh, I heard about that guy.
But taught us the fundamentals. You understand, when we were living before we moved into, I guess, the better part of Jersey City, our parents were nervous about us being outside playing, so we ain't really had that same upbringing.
Yeah.
But once we kind of moved, they were more comfortable us being outside. We played a lot. But to answer your question, Mitch got me plugged into sports. Once I started playing sports, I started becoming really good at it again. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things I started putting my hands on, man. I was blessed to be good at it, and I was so good that people see me more as a leader now, right? Mm-hmm. And so you be surprised how much stuff carries over in life that you see in sports. Sports, it helps me, at least what I realized, some of the leadership characteristics and the leadership building, them things grew when we were playing sports. I was on teams that weren't good, that had no direction, no leader. And so for me to stand up, stand out, and make sure I was putting my team in best position to win, those are life hacks that are still applicable, till this day.
Okay.
That's really good. So
what I find is that we've seen everything so far that's built you into the person who you are, right? But one of the main reasons I wanted to bring you on the show was on the basis that not only do you inspire me, but what you do is give people a different insight. I always say, you guys heard me say this before. It's not always about the basketball player, the rapper. It's about the local people that have moved in a direction and succeeded in life.
Yeah.
And for you guys to be able to see, it's not just this out here. You can do this. You can do this. But you're doing something that I realize that most people have to be basketball players to do if they choose to do it. Most people have to be a celebrity to do if they choose to do it. But you did something that most people who just have a good paying job that could just say, you know what? I got a good job. I moved out. I'd choose not to come back. But you did something to the ultimate give back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about the Nyamwange Foundation because tell me about that organization.
So I'm gonna get into that. But I want to demystify that myth that people feel like you have to have made it to give back.
Okay,
that is the if that's the reason our people are never going to get to where we need to get to. Mm-hmm. If you study history and see that we always moved, Harriet didn't have much. Yeah. She went back and she saved lives after she got her freedom. So we've been doing. You look at people like Malcolm X. He wasn't rich.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King. He was a middle class type dude. Mm-hmm. But what changed him was the perspective. And so I would encourage everybody, if you're watching this, if you have capacity and you have breath and you have time, you could be giving back to your community. Now, to answer your question about the foundation, man, a lot of it. Look, this all goes back to what I was saying before. Like, we've been doing this since we were kids. At least I've been watching this since I was kids. A lot of this also been influenced by my religion, obviously. As a Christian, you're just always there to kind of do ministry and stuff like that. But I think they came a time, man, where I saw a lot of things happen in our community. And I just got tired just talking about it. Hashtagging it, like tweeting things, like talking about it in group chats. It's not fair, like. And then there comes a moment in time where the frustration just becomes so much that action is the only option. And so I pulled the family aside, like, yo, we got to do something about it. And it's funny because when we initially started it, actually, there was a school right not too far from my house where my little brother was teaching. Had 900 kids. 300 of the 900 kids came from foster homes. I walked into the school. I'm like, in 2 hours, I saw 4 fights and 1 kid get arrested.
Wow.
I told myself, yo, this is where I need to be. I said, I want to adopt the school. I want to give a kid a scholarship. Once that happened, I remember I was like, yo, we probably need to put an organization around it because we just can't keep pulling up and people saying like, yo, I want to. And so, man, we just came up with a simple concept. Like, we want to improve urban cities one child at a time. And I want to do it in ways that I feel our kids are missing out. And we're going to grow as time grows. And so the first thing we do that our family is really good at is education. We got both our parents are doctorates, and they drilled education hard for us.
Yeah.
So like we gotta fix the education problem. I'm not pleased with where we are in terms of our literacy rates. I think we could do better. And so we said, let's give scholarships. What I realized real quick, Cliff, $1,000 here, $10,000 there is not going to move the needle with these kids. Not in college, not today. We'll buy a couple books. How are we going to make impact? We got to teach these kids the soft skills to be effective. And so part of what we do, we then created Nyamwange Leadership Academy. So we're taking kids now.
Wait.
Sorry.
Nyamwange Leadership Academy?
Yeah.
Soft skills needed for you to
Okay,
excel.
well,
take them-
I'm going to do this because I'm going to tell you another story. What do you mean soft skills?
So we start talking about how to properly communicate, how to properly write, but more importantly, how to be a leader, right? And a servant leader, someone who could advocate for others. At the end of the day, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to create, I don't use the word disciples because it has a lot of spiritual connotations, but we're trying to create more people like us who feel that they have a responsibility to go back to the community to make a difference. And not just the feeling, but they have the tool sets to do it. And so it's like, all right, we take 8th graders for 4 years, they rock with us. We put them through coaching, we make investments, we get some of the best teachers, the best trainers, the same folks that teach corporate, teach my kids. So we did that. So I think what we've also learned is while we're giving them the soft skills, the other main issue our people is we have an identity issue. Like a lot of our kids, our black kids, like if you look at what we learn in history, like what they tell us, our story started with
slaves.
And then we spent a decent amount of time there, and then some white guy saved us, Abraham Lincoln. And then we see this gap, and then you see maybe a couple, little things here, and then Martin Luther King pops up. Civil rights. Then there's this gap, and the new books now Obama pops up. You are robbing every contribution we made to this world. And so I was like, look, and by the way, this same thing I'm telling you now, I challenge the school board. And look, I'm not knocking you. But
you went to the school board
during one of those like town hall where the school board hears from us.
Yeah,
and
I want you guys to hear that. I don't mean to cut you off. How much did that cost to go to the school board?
No cost.
And the reason you went was because
I was frustrated at what I'm seeing in the current system.
So I want you guys to understand that it didn't cost. It was just passion. It was about, again, when we go on social media, we all stand together. If something is going on in the community, we will turn our profile pictures to black. And we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. But like he said, he's tired of doing that. And he wanted to put his money where his mouth is. Yeah. He wanted to put his actions where his mouth is. Mm-hmm. And like he said, he goes to the school board because he looked at his own community. He said it's free. Not that he was even thinking about the money, but it's free just to voice your opinion. But go ahead. Tell me what happened at the school.
Right.
So, and again, they said the revolution won't be televised. So a lot of these things you're not going to see in public. But I'm there and I'm saying, guys, look, the system we have is designed to create patriots. That's all it is. You want us to be proud of America. We don't spend time talking about the truth, what really happened to our people. And you can't expect the people to be confident and proud of who they are when what you're telling them is they've been slaves and they've been rescued by somebody else. So we have to do our part. Now, what I've also realized is if we're really going to make change, it's not going to happen from the inside out. It has to come from the outside in. So part of our curriculum is we take kids to Africa. I go, look, I'm going to take you out to Africa.
Wow, that's amazing.
Y'all going to learn about who you are by African professors. None of that, like, diluted stuff.
That's really good.
I was on one of your podcasts when you I actually joined in the conversation while you were in the podcast with your mom.
Yeah.
And I was looking into everything you guys were saying in reference to taking the kids to Africa. How is that funded?
We fund it. Let me tell you something. Majority of the things we do, we fund out of our pocket. Me and my wife and us, we made a commitment that over the next decade we were going to put $100,000 of our own pocket. Mind you, we already put close to $100,000 already. This is when you know where people's hearts are. And how do I learn this? My parents, how do you think they fund people coming to this country?
Right.
Your pockets.
Back in the day, yeah.
The thing is this, man, like, the more you give, the more be given back to you. The more you bless others, the more you be blessed back. And
Yes, that's honestly true.
Look, Joseph, I'm gonna say this, right? And regardless if you know or not, I talk about you a lot. And I think one time we was talking about like your message, and sometimes trying to get your message across to certain people. And I had a conversation with a guy that's probably around like 24 years old.
yeah.
And he was like, yo, I be hearing what he said. You know, that's Mitch's brother, right? The one that's Joseph, right? Yeah. He was like, I hear what he says, but I can't relate because he comes like, he be different. I can't see me in him. And I told him, I said, sometimes you see the end result and you don't really see the journey.
The journey of the beginning.
And I always say something about you. You're very passionate about everything you do. So do you feel like it's probably sometimes hard to be able to reach all the people you want? And do you see that what is it sometimes you feel like you may lose the roadblock to reach the people that you want?
Yeah.
But so I think about this a lot, Cliff.
Yeah.
Like, a couple things. One is I'm not for everybody. I'm just not. And
Your messages.
Fair, but it may not. I may not be the right messenger for everybody. So that's one.
I get it.
However, I am also cognizant that, and I don't know if the person you were talking to was a person of color.
Yeah.
But our people have been traumatized, man. Like we're in a world, if you think about it, where we honor consumerism. Like we're in a place where it's about clicks, it's about how people perceive you, and that's rooted in trauma, man. Still trying to seek approval from somebody because you've been denied your entire life, and not even just you, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and what people don't realize, and there's studies to even back this, that a lot of the psychological trauma carries over from even slavery. So if we put that into context, and now I'm hearing people say that, I'm like, you know what? A lot of times, man, you don't even know your power, man, and what you have. What I've been preaching is to try to push people towards ownership, to try to tell people if you're going to experience freedom, you can't detach that from economic liberation. It all comes hand in hand. Now, can I simplify the message? I'm sure I can, right? I'm always thinking about how to simplify it as much as possible. But here's my counter to most people. I'm sure you would study sports analysts. You could tell me all the analytics on Joker versus this. Like, we can get real deep on what's the latest trends. Like, we're experts at certain retail stores. The French people, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, but the things that impact our community the most aren't. And so, you know, that's why I'm always going to be passionate about this.
And we definitely commend people like you. I'm going to say Joseph, because just hearing your words, just meeting you for the very first time, I'm definitely, like, you're the person that we all need in this community, this world, you know? And from when Will was here and he talked about your mom, and I felt like she was like a super woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
she
I commend her for raising her, your dad, for raising some great young men. You know, you guys, you giving back to the community. He saw something, and he felt like it needs to be fixed and needs something to do about it. And not everyone does that. Yeah. You know, so definitely commend you on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, this is, guys, this is the reason why I said we have to see different point of views, and just like she brought up Will, and there was an off-camera conversation I had with your younger brother, and I told him, I said, sometimes the issue with a lot of us is the opportunity.
Correct. Yeah.
And having the option or being presented or being around people that are able to present you with certain opportunities. Because I do know one thing. We got to say Mitch again.
Yep, he's a big brother.
I heard that, Mr. Joseph, you were going to be a professor?
That was it.
What happened, Mitch? Come on,
See,
I'm gonna be a pastor once upon a time. And my dad said no pastors are broke. Then I was gonna be a professor, and Mitch said no professors are broke.
So, and the reason I mention this to you guys is this: to the person I had a conversation with and said, I see the end result. And I see it looks like he talks articulate. I don't see myself in that. Like, I don't see me being that. Always understand, true indeed, there's an end result. Everybody, that's growth. But just like we do the show, we may talk about Ja Morant one time. We may have all different type of topics, but guess what? This is a part of me giving back. If I know someone, it's this beautiful thing, each one teach one.
Right.
That right there, I don't think a lot of people understand what that means. You don't, like you said, everything doesn't have to be money. Knowledge, opportunity.
A commitment.
Look, I'm going to give you an example. It costs nothing for Mitch to tell Joe, don't do that, do this.
Yeah.
And that changed his
Professors
projection.
don't make money.
We got the Nyamwange Foundation.
Exactly. As mentioned prior, I was telling him, I'm like, yo, listen, being a professor and education is great. It's what our parents did. That's what they knew, right? Do you want to wait till you're 60 to be a millionaire? Or do you want to make your money now prior so that you can make changes now in your youth prior to that? So it was me selling him on the degree I was approaching and getting versus doing what the everyday, what was normal for what our parents is. It's normal to follow your parents. They were professors, I should be a professor. They did this, I should do that. They say accountant, I should do accounting. But when I fumbled into something, that's just the duty as brothers or people that you love and you care for. When you see an opportunity, and then I knew his skill set and his passion, you feel me? And then his background in sports was my background in sports, the reason why I was doing well in this. And I knew he would excel at it. Why would I ever stop those blessings for him to take the traditional route when I knew the sky's the limit in this lane? So we went that lane, and today he could give back at an earlier age.
I would say this, though, and Mitch I think he's being modest. Real talk. It wasn't the money that sold me.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think it was the money part.
But I tell you what, like Mitch, real talk, the dude knows how to gas somebody up.
The salesman in him.
I leave, feeling like, I can do anything. That's the thing with sports. He's like, you could be the best. Nobody's like you. And I was like, word? It was almost, and it's funny because my father, like, we're both our parents are from Kenya, so they don't have like that skill set of that inspirational conversation you'll get to your kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could barely come to get them in sports games because in their mind it was all about education. But Mitch was low-key like a father to me. So when he came to me, he was like, yo, boo, trust me. Yo, your skill sets, your ability to communicate. Mind you, I was I was on my, like, Al Sharpton stuff. I wasn't polished. People don't realize I came in sales like a preacher. And my brother was like, yo, man, we could fix that. Yo, you could do ... Yo, and so when I went in there, man, they had to shake me up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but all of it happened because, he believes in me. And I think the takeaway is, somebody believes in you. Whoever it is. And to your point, it just him talking to me about it. A lot of times, I don't know, for whatever reason, we hide stuff in our community. Like, there's a good thing.
That's where I was going next.
We ain't telling nobody. Like, no. Just because he put me on doesn't mean he don't eat. Mm-hmm. We all eat. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so,
and to me, the reason I wanted to have you on the show, because sometimes I watch the things that you do, and I'm like, it's corporate. It's corporate. I'm not gonna lie, and I can understand why some kids who have not seen that type of conversation or seen that type of environment, see a person of color in these environments, and this person, because let's be honest, we did a show one time and I said, you too can be a millionaire if you take this course. Everybody has that, right? Yeah. And how you could come across sometimes like, oh, it's just another guy. But the reason I wanted to bring him on the show is to let you guys understand, like, look, he was no different than you guys. Yeah. He was going to be a professor. That's just going to school, understanding academics. But always understand what he also said was, was in church. He knew what built his character. And that's what made him into the person he was. But he still was going to go to be a professor. And what I want to be able to tell the person who I spoke to out there, and if anybody's watching, we all have different paths. And a lot of us go on different endeavors because of somebody introduced you to something. And like I said, he was introduced to something like, hey, try this out. I think you'll be good at it. All right, that deterred him. He moved in this direction. Then that direction moved him, set him on this course. Yeah. So, yes, you see the end result, but it's always a journey. And sometimes I think a lot of us, we want to see the journey to believe if it's true. Sometimes understand, like, no, look at what the person does. And also, you have a YouTube page. Wait, I know. Wait. I'll get back to that. I say you have a YouTube page, but you want to say something?
I wanted to give a breakdown to the gentleman you were speaking to on behalf of him that said, like, I can't relate to him. Mm-hmm. Let them know the background. This is no prep. He didn't go to no prep school, no boarding school. This is Jersey City, PS33 public school to PS38 to a county prep school for high school to a state school, William Patterson. The lowest level of routes, meaning where opportunities available across the board for everyone in our generation, our society, and our ethnicity. So as far as EOF, whether you could qualify for EOF to
I was in that.
The William Patterson or the certain colleges or funded, there's no Stanford here. There's no Ivy League. He has no masters. There's nothing that separates him than 80% of the people I know on an everyday basis that do regular everyday thing. Correct. This is passion and execution and consistency to be where he became.
This is the reason why I wanted him on the show, for just show that it's very simple.
Yeah. So let me add context to that. So you're right. Like, we did grow up in the hood. Mm-hmm. We did go to college. What people don't realize, though, it's not like I graduated college and the world was perfectly fine for me. Y'all made a lot of Dumbo mistakes. Like, you have to understand, like, where I was, and I talk a lot about this publicly. Man, financially, like, even though I wanted to give back, I was broke, bro. Back in 2014, I was $100,000 in debt. I didn't have no net worth. And here's the crazy thing. Damn. Yeah, and while I had a decent income, I did not have the resources to help. And I was doing interest-only loans. I was paying $2,000-$3,000 a month on interest. Mm. So for people who think that, like, oh, like, I've arrived, I made this, I got scar tissue. Like, I've been through stuff. And so I remember at that time, and thank God, me being a Christian, I prayed to God, you can get me out of this, man. You can fix me. I'm going to dedicate my life to help people that look like me. And so I had to do a lot of reading. I had to do a lot of research. There's not a lot of programs out there that are designed for African Americans that take into account our historical struggles and puts the whole thing together and points us toward purpose. So it's like, all right, well, sorry. So, well, all right, well, we're going to build it. And so, yeah, you see me today talking a lot about, financial literacy, financial freedom. But that's not just a new, trendy topic for me, man.
Would you say that you got into that because you were at a point that you learned and got out of it, so you want to help other people? Like, look, I was 100, like you said, you was 100,000 in debt.
That is 100% the reason why. And then the more I study the data for us as black people, man, we on average graduate with a $52,000 student loan debt, right? People rack up debt all the time. I mean, you were just sending me an IG the other day.
Yeah.
The American dream, man, is not real for us.
It's not real.
Yeah.
The old playbook of just keep going to school, take on student loans. Yo, people are leaving unemployed, underemployed. It was the same thing I talked about in my college graduation speech. Like, yo.
Yeah, I seen that speech.
We got to make a shift. And so yeah, I do talk about it, but and this is why I always tell people, there's a lot of people chatting on social, but you got to judge them by the fruits of their labor. See what they doing.
Right.
And that's why now, because of my wealth, I'm able to bless people. That was the source. So I'm no longer about can I make $1 million no more, Cliff. I'm about how do I put myself in a position so I can give $1 million. You make that kind of mental shift, bruh, it changes. And that's what I hope people really start doing and focusing on.
Question.
Yeah.
What you got on your feet?
He's actually new sneakers my wife bought me, man.
What?
Brand new. I think they're Air Maxes.
Oh, they're Air Maxes.
Brand new.
What kind of shorts you got on, B?
Man.
Nice.
Yeah.
The polo. It's nice.
Oh, them polos?
His wife bought him.
My wife's best friend.
Thanks, Sasha.
Oh, okay. What kind of shirt is that, B?
It's H&M, man.
Man, where your chain at, B?
Shane.
You ain't got no chain?
Yeah, bracelet, though. Brand new.
What kind of watch you got, son?
Apple Watch, man. I got to track my steps.
You ain't got no Gucci? He ain't got no Gucci on? Wait. So you mean to tell me you actually got the nerve to get back to these kids and you ain't got no Gucci on? You could have got some Gucci, but like, what kind of car you drive, son?
Yo, it's a funny story. As a matter of fact,
No, hold up. What kind of car you driving?
I drive a Tesla now.
Wait, you got a Tesla? You ain't got a Maserati?
No.
With all that money you giving to them kids, you can. I mean, forget them kids. Get your Maserati.
Word.
No Maserati. Not anytime soon.
What's the funny story?
Go ahead, man. What's the funny story?
So I don't really go to these stores like that. And I remember my wife, she celebrated her birthday. I don't want to tell you which one, but we celebrated her birthday. And I was like, yo, let me go try to do something nice for my wife, man. Let me go to these little stores, these designer stores that we were talking about. So I went to this strip in D.C., man, and I knew it was trouble because I'm seeing all these. It's not even like a mall strip. It's like outdoor. I'm like, okay, that's Tiffany, that's Louis Vuitton, that's Gucci. So I'm seeing all these like high-end stores. So I pull up in Tiffany. I was like, yo, I'm looking for like an ankle bracelet or something like that, or like a tennis bracelet. She's like, yeah, come over here. I was like, how much is it? She said, that'd be $30,000. I was like, $30,000 what? I said, you know it's Tiffany. Let me go to
Tiffany's very expensive.
Let me go to this Gucci everybody talking about. I said, let me take a little bucket bag. Dude, the bag had to be like this, bro. It was something small. I said, how much? She's like, that'd be like $3,000. I was like, I called Mint, is this real?
Word.
Mitch probably said, don't worry, you got it. That's exactly what he said.
Do it for her.
Do it for her.
There's only one time in the year, man.
Let's go to Marshalls real quick now.
Go spend a bag real
what
quick.
You get?
No, we ain't buying nothing from the store. So I ended up taking her and do something different. But these kind of decisions, I'm going to take her personally so she can pick it. Because I ain't trying to surprise somebody from this kind of store.
You know what? I actually, look, guys, how long you been married now?
6 years.
6 years, right? Instead of running the street, this, that, his biggest passion is making sure he's taking care, giving back. And I would say why I wanted Joseph definitely on the show, because we obviously you're going to tell us a little bit more about the foundation.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I realized is that just like kids, adults need to be shown different opportunities. And like I said, you got to be shown different people. You got to be shown different walks of life. You got to be able to see, you may see Mitch somewhere. You may see me somewhere. You may see Wendy somewhere. Guess what? Who was by us? We had Joe by us. Mm-hmm. Joe, the guy who has a foundation. He and you always have to realize the opportunity. Sometimes there's a 6th degree of separation of being around certain people.
Right.
And I think sometimes what we have to realize is that the end result is always the end result, but you got to realize everybody has a journey, and that's why I wanted to be able to explain, like, look, he didn't do anything that was out of reach for the average person.
Yeah.
But what he said was, as a kid, he wanted to do something. Always realize, as a kid, I didn't know how to speak well, but I always felt like I had something to say, and somebody gave me the opportunity to speak. And once I was given the opportunity, even though I couldn't speak, they gave me the opportunity, and I killed it. Right. And I did what I had to do. Sports. I never played sports, but my brother gave me the opportunity to do it. I went and did it. They depended on me, and I killed it. I was going to school. My brother gave me the opportunity to go into sales, a different type of sales. Guess what? I got it. I killed it.
Exactly.
The reality, he built himself up, but through the help and through the opportunities that was presented. And sometimes, guys, you have to understand it's about taking advantage of the opportunities when you get it. Don't be afraid to make that change.
Yeah.
And I think when I said I'm inspired, because I know the journey. I hear these stories, and I'm like, this is what people need to see. And that's why I say I don't mind. I love the show. This is a give back for me.
Right.
For us to be able to see some other type of inspiration. And it damn sure helps that he's a black guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm going to also say this one thing here too, far as where he said that he was married and had a whole, everything going on for him. I'm going to say the statistics says that, most men that wants to become a millionaire, billionaire, that's very successful in life, they have that one woman in their life, a very strong woman that is behind them, pushing them, waiting for the best for them, and most of the guys now that's out there, young men, you guys is running from this one to the next one, all over the place. Once you find that one person, you find love and you find everything within that one person, grow with that person. And the woman that sees a vision for her man, she's going to root him all the way through and make him be the very best that he could be. Agreed. So just remember that,
Agreed. So the pivot off that is, how has Sasha been a foundation to the man you are today, to support and to ride this journey with you?
Let me tell you something, man. I'm not even just saying this to say this, like straight up. Sasha was the biggest catalyst to where I'm at today. Like, there's nothing more better than knowing that somebody's holding it down, whether it be for my kids or at my house. I wasn't, like, just to be clear, like, when I got married, like, we had some debt, and we were nowhere near even becoming a millionaire. We made finances part of our premarital experience. And we say, whatever happens, finances is not going to break us. It's going to build us. And one of the things we're able to do, man, is and I think a lot of married couples don't do this, man, we dream together, man. Like we map this whole thing out. And so now all of a sudden, during our 6-year marriage, man, while I thought becoming a millionaire was a stretch, we became multimillionaires because of having somebody to hold you down. And like, there's things that you can't put an economic price tag on. You just can't.
You can.
That shows up for me on a stat sheet. And so, like, I can tell you right now, and Sasha, if you're watching this, like, thank you, like, for having my back, for rocking with me and building with me. Because, man, she's exactly what I need, man.
That's amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I hope I pressed the right sound.
Sensational.
Yes, I did.
Sensational.
This is why I like you on the show. Because, I mean, we try to be the hard guys, I know me. I'm not going to speak for Mitch, but we try to be the hard guys. And I think sometimes
I bring that softness to a little bit.
We want to believe and we want to hope that we can have that.
Yeah.
True.
And I think, like I said, this is not only just to talk about you, but it's also to talk about and show people, like, marriage. It's possible. Said he loved his wife.
Right.
On podcast. It's
Foundation.
It's good. It's this foundation. People. These are the examples we need to see. Just like he said, in schools they don't show you this. In schools they don't show you this. Let's be honest, in life they don't show you this. So what I just hope you guys really truly understand what's actually in front of your face. It was a comedy thing for me to be funny saying what you got on. I want you guys to be able to see also, you don't have to be this. You don't have to be this or that. Just live life.
Right.
Have fun. He's married. Loves life. You don't need this, don't need that. He even Wait, did you not hear what he just said? There were a couple things he just said. Wait, that cost this? I had to call Mitch for it. But then he also said, we're multimillionaire. I'm not going to rob you when you get out. But, he said that, but he was still penny pinching. Now, imagine if some of you were multimillionaires. You'll be broke by next week.
Buy the whole store out.
Looking like Mr. T. So, and he helps me validate, I ain't wearing that because he ain't got it on, so what I look like. So, when it's all said and done, thank you. I appreciate it. I was like, look, he could get it, but he ain't even be what I look like. So I'm like, yo, you can say whatever you want to say.
That ain't popping.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? So before we ask, I want to know what's going on with the Nyamwange Foundation right now.
So right now we literally just enrolled our largest class. So we have 25 scholars who are going to be going through our program. Matter of fact, we're going to be celebrating them on the 6th of June. And yeah, we're going to be acknowledging. We're giving away the Mateo Award. So that's
what's the Mateo Award?
So one of the kids we are honoring, he unfortunately passed away.
Oh,
5-year-old kid. He died. It was a tragic accident. He died in a swimming pool. Wow. And so we told his mom we wanted to honor him. And so we dedicated a scholarship after him that we're going to give to one of the students. And so we're going to celebrate him. And so that's going to be a big part of it. And then we're taking our kids to D.C. So part of the NLA is teaching them about, again, how to be advocates for others. So we're taking these kids to D.C., to the African American Museum, to meet with leaders that, we're trying to connect with the HBCU and Howard so they can learn about historic stuff. And then we're gearing up for our Birthright Africa trip in 2024 summer. So nice. A lot of activity happening for the foundation, man. Yeah. It is exciting, bro.
I'm going to say something. And I don't even think you guys even get it. When I was younger, they had so many programs for kids. They had so many. It was a Right Foundation. It was called the Right Foundation. It was something that you could do if you were smart. You could get you into boarding school. It was, I forgot, AXO. That was another program, another type of boarding school. But the fact that you said that this doesn't come out of the kids' pockets. No. You guys are funding this trip. You guys fund the DC trip too?
Yeah. So kids don't pay. We just ask them to lean in, man. That's it. Just be present.
And you said from 8th
grade
to 12th.
Yeah.
So from 8th grade all the way to 12th, they're getting prepared.
Absolutely.
For the world.
For the world.
Yeah. And these kids.
Speech. What was it again? Speech,
writing skills, how to learn how to be leaders. So we deal with topics like imposter syndrome, how to project, how to become a leader, how to serve others. We partner with a company called YouLead that helps put the curriculum together.
Question. I'm going to ask. So, the kids are going to Africa. And obviously you said that, most of these kids don't come from probably the most prestige homes. Do you set them up with getting passports and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we walk them through that process. So they'll get passports, we get them visas, we get them teed up for travel. So it's all part of the build-up. And let me tell you something, these kids are smart, man. We just had one of our first kids go to Duke. We got kids going to Rutgers.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are learning, and they're applying. So, we're making imprint.
When given the opportunity and being recognized for it. And this all... Let's say this again. These kids are going to Africa. These kids are going to DC. These kids are getting prepared to be great human beings from 8th to 12th grade. Do you recognize where it started from? Because we just did a journey on this podcast. It all started from a little kid being told, go and speak. Being told, do sports. Being told to go to a different path, and to have a dream together with your wife. And all that changed lives of these kids.
Yeah.
And you said how many are getting a scholarship in this
25.
25 kids this time
year.
around. 25 people.
I remember it was less than
If
half.
that ain't giving back.
See, that's growing, right?
Yeah, I remember it was less than half of that when we
We
began.
started with one.
We started with one. Like, how many years ago?
And I'm going to say this. I don't mean to offend. You ain't saying it, I'm saying it. Let me explain something, guys. This guy right here, he has a YouTube page. He don't need the YouTube money. He don't need the YouTube money. Now, I'm on YouTube trying to get something, but he don't need the YouTube money.
Yeah.
He's presenting a message. And one of the things that what I want to do is to be able, and I'm not even big, but I want this message to be sent out in any way. I want you guys to like. I want you guys to subscribe.
Definitely.
I will definitely put a link to his page. Definitely subscribe. Send that message out. We got people in Jersey City watching this.
Yeah.
It all starts from you seeing something
Believe
Yeah.
it.
Right.
and saying to yourself, I'm tired of it too.
Well,
Yeah.
He said going to the town hall was free. It's all like, sometimes I understand, and I grew up in the era like, yo, these people fight against these people. You can't keep saying fight against these people if you ain't fighting for yourself.
yeah.
So when it's all said and done, I just went through a journey with him. It wasn't expensive. It was I have a passion. And sometimes you may not see the bigger picture, but if you have that passion, you'll be surprised how much your passion can push you forward. And I asked those questions about the passports. They're going to Africa. I was supposed to go to Africa, but I had some responsibilities. But I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see the lions, eat the giraffe in a certain way. I mean, I want to see all that stuff. There's other stuff than that. But the experience, and I know what type of experience that is for a kid that ain't never left your city.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can come back home.
Exactly.
And just to recognize that what you thought was Africa ain't what you thought was Africa.
Africa, right.
And that experience itself will put them in Duke,
Right.
Georgetown,
And
Princeton,
But even past
Rutgers.
schools, man, there's nothing more powerful than knowing who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
If kids can, listen, we teach these kids things like how people like Socrates, Aristotle went to Africa to get their
knowledge. You got to lay all of them.
Yeah.
We teach them that, if you think of the mathematics, the technology, the arithmetic that was developed in Africa, they just have a different worldview now. And then there's something about being in an environment where everybody looks like you. You look at billboards, bro, black people. From the president to the janitor, black people. And they embrace you with open arms. Here's the crazy thing about it. Not only is the legacy rich and the history rich, and the future's bright. Africa has 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world.
That's
So
amazing.
now you're saying, wait a minute, this is who I am? Changes the game.
but on a serious note, can Africa get those movies right? Because I've been seeing some of those action movies.
That's Nigeria. Nigeria be wildin' with the fake blood.
But you see how we moving the music, though.
Oh, yeah.
No, and sports.
music is really
Yo, listen,
good.
music, sports,
We covered.
movies,
Yeah.
movies,
Akon City
actors.
about to be lit. Though. It's-
He's still waiting on Akon City. Just like we waiting on them good action movies. But
Burna Boy and them holding it down for us. You feel me?
Yeah.
So
Nigeria, not just run everything. We got Nigerians on power. What's his name? The light-skinned dude. What's his name?
Romy.
Yeah. You heard?
We ready, yo.
We everywhere.
Baby, y'all here.
Look, guys. Like I said, just on a serious note, I actually love this show. No cursing on this show at all. It was good. And I just wanted, like I said, I just always want you guys just to be able to see different things in life. Yeah. Like I said, I'm older than just about everybody on this panel right now, but I'm still inspired, and it makes me. I'm actually a proud guy to be able to see, like, you know what, and like I said with the other hosts, the other guests that we had, when I saw Willie being that young and just financially being smart, and I said everything is about network. Because don't get it twisted, Kim is getting older. like yo, nepotism. You better hook. My son need a job, bro. So when it's all said and done, guys, I just want you guys to be able to see. Definitely, I'm gonna leave the link to the Nyamwange Foundation. Get all the information in there.
Yeah,
and if you can help contribute. Look, like he said, him and his wife, they doing it out of his pocket, raising and everything like that. The reality is we talk about helping. Let's put our money where our mouth is, right?
Exactly.
And the fact of it is, I just want you guys to be able to see that there's so many different, and this is local.
Right.
We from the tri-state area. This is local.
Just support
local success.
Like,
And he ain't balling. He ain't got the chains on. He ain't dookie fat, like, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Air Maxes, he said it out loud. You know what I'm saying? So
he said it was a gift. He didn't buy it.
So, guys, I definitely appreciate you guys tuning into another episode of Shoot the Ish. And before we do our outro, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I would say, man, thanks for having me, man. All of y'all.
Pleasure.
I follow
You've
y'all
been
show.
sensational.
Pleasure.
Yeah, I follow the show. I know this is a little bit different than what y'all normally kind of chat about, but it's relevant, man. And
exactly.
I appreciate you having this conversation because your listeners need to hear this.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I'd say to you guys, man, just tuning in, like, I'm not saying this just to, like, boast up the things we do, man. I genuinely hope that you're inspired to start something. You're like, if you could change one kid's life, your life was worth it. And so whatever that passion is that you got, like, that keeps, that the Lord keeps putting in you, act on it. Don't sit on that thing no more. Like, and it don't have to be something crazy. It don't have to be an organization. It could be as simple as, like, I'm going to dedicate 1 hour a month to either help this or do that cause, whatever that is. So, again, man, thank you for having me and appreciate everybody, man.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you for coming, definitely.
Outro, guys, you have anything to say?
Well, thank you once again, Boo. Coming out here, long journey, big day tomorrow with the gala. And, giving out all, the awards to the deserving students and their celebration, of course. Once again, thank you for being here. Great show. Love it for the cast. Anybody else?
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed you, and everything that you spoke about this whole session was definitely something where we just got to start to learn and do things out there because, you're a mentor to the community.
Sure.
And it's phenomenal just listening to your story. So we appreciate you very much for being here.
Sure.
You're welcome.
All right. And hopefully one day I'm going to go to eighth grade all the way to 12th, and I want to get some tickets. I'm going to get to Africa for free. Peace out.